Good day, welcome to the channel of SA Accounting Network. Today I want to continue my series on starting a business, and today we're going to be looking at part 3. So what will happen when you start employing people, because I think for any business that will be the next step into growth. So if you like this series, please remember to subscribe to my channel, like the video as well, so you can get up to date with if I release new videos as well. So let me head down to my computer, then I can show you exactly how it works. Okay, so the talk that I'm going to be doing today is about when you become an employer. Like I said, that is the next step in growing your business. And the different topics that I'm going to touch on quickly today is the first thing is pay as you earn, and then UIF, STL or skills development levy, workman compensation, and then labor inspections. Those are the 5 topics that I'm going to touch on quickly. So the first thing is pay as you earn. A lot of people don't know how pay as you earn works. So just in short, so once you become an employer, you need to register with the receiver of revenue within 21 days. So the day when you actually employ somebody, like I said just now, the receiver of revenue then gives you 21 days to register as an employee with them. The application can be done by e-filing. So once your business is registered, you need to link the number to your e-filing profile in order to file the return. So what would normally happen as soon as you register the company, then the next step after that is to register on e-filing, because that is a platform that you use to do all your tax work on. And then once you've got the business registered on e-filing, one of the things you can do there is to actually apply for that pay as you earn number. So that is the place where you'll do the application. The pay as you earn returns are normally due the 7th of the following month. So the pay as you earn for March would be due by the 7th of April or the last working day before the 7th of April. So if the 7th is on a Saturday or a Sunday, it needs to be filed by the Friday before the close of business. So that's also important. We've had cases in the past where people paid like on a Friday night at 11 o'clock. Then what happens at the receiver of revenue? They receive the money too late, then automatically they add a penalty on top of that amount. So it's really important that on that last day that they actually do it before close of business. We normally recommend our clients to do it before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So over here, late submissions or payments will result in a 10% penalty, and then plus obviously that outstanding amount runs interest as well with the receiver of revenue. So I want to show you 2 examples quickly of how it actually works. So if you look at, remember with the previous talk, I'm going to put a link in the video above as well, so you can just catch up on the talk that I did on income tax, because it's important that you need to understand how income tax works for individuals before you will understand how pay as you earn works. But these are the tax tables that's given to us. So it works on a sliding scale. So you can see for individuals up to 205,000 Rand, you'll be paying 18% tax, and then it goes up. If you earn more than 1.5 million Rand, then you can see you're going to be paying 45% tax. And so we have got a spreadsheet that we basically work on. So this is if somebody works for you and they're earning a fixed salary every month. So if there's no fluctuations in their salary, then you can work on a spreadsheet like this. You see. I think what I'm going to do is on the video itself, I'm going to put a link down below as well to my website, and then this specific spreadsheet, I'm going to put it there on my website for you, free of charge, that you can actually download and you can go play around a bit to see exactly different scenarios of what you earn, what the tax would be on that. So you can welcome to have a look over there. So this is my example. You can see if somebody earns 5,000 Rand per month, because of the sliding scale, you can see in the pay as you earn column, there wouldn't be anything payable. As soon as people start earning more than about 7,000 Rand, that is normally when you would start paying tax. So you can see somebody that earns 18,000 Rand per month would have a pay as you earn bill of 2,000 Rand per month, and you can see his net salary then works out to 15,000 Rand. And if you go up, if you start in 45,000 Rand there, you can see the pay as you earn works out to 10,000 Rand, and then you can see there's your net salary. So something like this works perfect if you've got somebody working for you and their salaries doesn't fluctuate. So if it stays exactly the same every single month, then the spreadsheet like this is normally sufficient. So what we do with our clients, we give them this template, they complete this on a monthly basis, so they will list all the people that worked for them for the month. Then at the end of the month, they email that spreadsheet back to us, and then we then use this spreadsheet to be able to do the pay as you earn submissions. Just one thing to take note, as the spreadsheet that we're currently looking at is for the 2020-2021 tax year. So as soon as this tax year is finished, then this spreadsheet won't be relevant anymore because of those tax tables that changes every year. So you can see on this spreadsheet, so if this was the case, we had these 7 workers, then you can see that your pay as you earn amount that you would need to pay would then be 24,000 Rand that you would need to pay for the year. if you have somebody that works for you, where their salaries vary. So this is quite often the situation with directors for companies, because if you own a business, it is not a thing that you're going to always take a fixed salary. Your salary will basically fluctuate with the amount of money that's available for you to take as a salary. So this is just the extract that I took from one of my clients. So let me quickly show you the examples. You can see in this situation over here, this client took a salary of 44,000 Rand for the month. Then you can see his pay-as-you-earn worked out to 10,500 Rand. In the next month, there was no money available in the business, so he didn't take his salary. So you can see the pay-as-you-earn worked down to 0. And then the next month again, he took 43,000 Rand as his salary. So therefore, you can see his tax only worked out to 5,500 Rand. So if you go back to my spreadsheet, so you can see if somebody takes 45,000 Rand, you can see the tax is supposed to be about 10,000 Rand. But because we're doing it on the payroll program, you can see that the payroll program works on the year-to-date totals. You see, so it will work out what your salaries or what your drawings was for the period of 3 months. And then based on that 3 months, it will calculate that your taxable income, let's say for instance, was 88,000 Rand, and therefore you had to pay 15,000 Rand. So every month you only need to pay in the difference on the salary. So as soon as you have a salary that fluctuates, then it's really important that you need to start looking at getting a payroll system. One that we prefer to use at our offices and a lot of our clients as well that also use it is called vanilla payroll. The reason why we prefer that payroll system, obviously we've been working on it probably about the past 10 years. The pricing of the package is excellent. It is easy to use. The support as well is excellent. It's a local company that develops the payroll program, and then I'm going to put the link as well inside the description. And I spoke to the director of the company, and he said that they're actually going to be putting out a 3-month trial version on their payroll program as well. So that is possibly something to look at as well. I know there's a lot of other payroll programs out there as well. This is just the one that we prefer to office, and like I said, most of our clients also use it, and we obviously offer support on this payroll program. I will actually be doing a tutorial on these programs in the near future, so just keep an eye on the YouTube channel. So that was in a nutshell how the pay-as-you-earn works. So fixed salaries, like I say, you can work on a spreadsheet like this. When it comes to variable salaries, then you have to start looking at possibly getting a payroll system. And the second thing we're going to look at is for UIF. So you need to register for UIF for the Department of Labour as soon as someone works more than 24 hours a month. So just remember that these rules are not the same as pay-as-you-earn. So there, as soon as you become an employer, you have to register within 21 working days, or within 21 days, where with UIF they talk about 24 hours a month. So if you've got somebody and they only work 10 hours a month, then you do not need to register with the Department of Labour. So I said in my second bullet point, if you register for pay-as-you-earn, you're not automatically registered for UIF. To register, you need to complete 2 forms, the UI8 and UI19, and send it through to the Department of Labour, and then you will need to follow up on the registration. Alternatively, you can get a company to register you for UIF, which is faster but obviously more expensive. So at the moment, we are using a company to outsource our UIF registrations through to, and then I'm going to share that link as well in the description of this video, so you can get in contact with them as well. So next point over there, so if you are registered for pay-as-you-earn, then you will need to pay if you are registered for pay-as-you-earn, then you will pay the UIF over together with the pay-as-you-earn to the receiver of revenue. They then pay it over to the Department of Labour. When you register UIF, they will link the pay-as-you-earn number then. So that is the way that they get the money. So if you registered for pay-as-you-earn, you pay over the UIF to the receiver of revenue, then they pay the money over to the Department of Labour. If you are not registered for pay-as-you-earn, then what will happen then is you would need to pay the Department of Labour directly. So then there's a different way that you actually make those payments. So with UIF as well, you need to register on the system which they call U-Filing. So that is the platform, and there you submit your return on a monthly basis, declaring who worked for you and what they earned, so that they can allocate the UIF which they have received. And again, with the Department of Labour UIF, once your employment ceases, your employee can go and claim benefits from the Department of Labour. So that is really important, especially if there's big things happening. Like currently, we're facing the coronavirus crisis in our country, and this is really important that you have these things in place, especially for situations like these. Point number 3, the skills development levy. So the receiver of revenue says that once your payroll exceeds 500,000 Rand per year, then you need to start paying over STL to the receiver of revenue. SARS in turn then pays over that money over to what they call CETAs, or those are the companies who administers the levy. Even if you don't pay over STL, you must still register with the relative CETAs, and then I'm going to share that link as well. But the other link is if you want to have a look at all the different CETAs that's out there, and then you need to contact them directly to actually register with them. So once again, once you register with the receiver of revenue for pay as you earn, although you're paying over the STL to the receiver of revenue, it's not an automatic thing for you to register with the CETA as well. You need to contact the CETA directly. They will give you an application form, and then you need to register your company with them as well. It's normally quite beneficial to actually be registered with them because they do a lot of free training throughout the year, and so it's really worth it to look at that as well. Number 4 is workman compensation. What they call the Workmen Compensation Act is also known as Coida. So that's a Compensation Occupational Injuries and Disease Act. So this is when somebody gets hurt on the job. So with them as well, you need to register with them separately again. So this is also a separate government department. So if you are registered with the Department of Labour for UIF, you still need to contact this department separately and register separately with them as well. Workman compensation returns are due once a year. You need to make an estimate of your salaries for the coming year, and then based on that estimate, they give an invoice to pay. At the end of the year, you will need to declare what your actual salaries was, and then which will result either in a debit or a credit. But at the same time, you need to make an estimate again for the following year. So if you are compliant, you can apply for a certificate, which they call a letter of good standing. And quite often, when you work on big contracts or work on big projects and stuff, then they won't actually allow you on site if you cannot give them a valid letter of good standing. So especially people that's in construction, this is a really important thing to have in place. If employees get injured on duty, then they can submit a claim with the department. So that is obviously a very big benefit if somebody gets hurt while they're busy working. Number 5, labour inspections. I think this is really important that we just touch on this quickly as well. So here's just an example of things that we've been seeing lately. So quite often we've had a couple of these inspections at our clients. So what will happen is when you have a labour inspection, somebody from the department will walk into your shop and then they will give you one of these forms. I just took an extract out of these forms so you can actually see what this form looks like. So you can see, if you look at this notice, they say this is to notify you that an official of this department intends to visit your establishment, and then they will give you a date and a time. You are required to produce the following records, which you are required to keep in terms of labour legislation, which will be inspected. So the first bullet point is employees to keep a copy of the Act or determination where applicable. So this Act that they're talking about is the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. You'll see that if you go to some of your big stationery shops like at CNA or Walton's, there's these huge posters that you must buy, and then you must put that up somewhere against the wall where your employees can actually see the basic conditions of employment. Second bullet point, they say talk about the attendance register. Then you need to keep up to date. So you must make sure that you have a record of who worked for the last 2 months. Point number 3, a signed employment contract and a letter of appointment of an employee. So they just talk about various categories over there. Number 4, information about the remuneration. So you need to produce them with pay slips or pay envelopes, overtime, leave pay, the last 2 months. And once again, important that the national minimum wage is applicable. So that again was very important. One of the reasons why we can recommend that you go into a payroll program, because a payroll program normally keeps track of all those type of things for you. Number 5, unemployment insurance registration number, as well as proof of last payment. So there, if you're not registered for pay as you earn, you will need to give them the proof of payments where you pay the department directly. If you are registered for pay as you earn, you will give them copies of the pay as you earn returns, then obviously plus the proof of payments for those payments that you made. Number 6 is the compensation of occupation Coida, registration number, as well as proof of last payment. And obviously if you've got a letter of good standing, you'll be able to give that to them as well. A company letterhead, your company SIP-C certificate if you're registered as a company, and then a list containing the names and the ID numbers of all the employees. And quite often what we also see is when the inspector comes to your offices as well, it's good to have your filing login details handy as well, so you can actually log into the system, and while the inspector is there, then you can actually show him what is happening on your filing system, because there they'll be able to see which employees you've got working for you, where you're declaring their salaries, and what contributions each one of them made. So that's also really important to have in place. And so then just from there, if you guys do have any questions, you're welcome to pop it into the description below, and then I'll possibly either do a follow-up video on this, and then just keep an eye open on the channel as well. There will be some more of these videos to follow as well, and then I hope you enjoyed the talk. Thanks.